I'm Jimmy Nguyen, and I am founding president of the Bitcoin Association that supports Bitcoin SV Satoshi Vision. I'm here today to talk to you not about Bitcoin as an investment asset and store of value, which is what has become in BTC, but about how blockchain technology and a much more powerfully scaled Bitcoin blockchain can enable a more democratic economy. And I know a lot about what is the importance of creating economic opportunity for everyone. I'm from the United States now, but I was born in Saigon, Vietnam, where my parents actually were married many years ago. That's them getting married a long time ago in Vietnam. And I've been thinking a lot about time recently and how it relates to blockchain and its power to provide more empowerment and opportunity for everyone. Because in the beginning of October, I was in the Los Angeles area and I went to a family wedding where my parents attended with me, and my parents are definitely not romantic people. They do not like to dance, but at the end of the wedding, there was the reception and all the married couples were asked to get on the dance floor and dance. So I forced my parents up, and slowly couples were eliminated based upon the length of their marriage. Well, lo and behold, it was my parents who were left as the last couple standing with 59 years of marriage. That's them. The entire wedding reception applauded the length of their time together. And it made me really start thinking about how time influences our lives and gives us opportunity. And more importantly, how the importance of time is relevant to the economic opportunities we have. The more time we have to do things, the greater the economic opportunity that we can experience. My parents needed that when they came to the United States in 1975. I was a little baby, and they had to start all over, from my father being a federal judge in South Vietnam to being an orderly in a nursing home at his first job. And they worked very hard. But what was difficult for them at the time in the 1970s was the need to always have permission from other people to get a job, to rent a place to live, to get a credit card or a bank account. There were a lot of gatekeepers, intermediaries, which is what blockchain technology was designed to reduce, to empower more people by reducing that need to ask for permission. But in order to have a system that works effectively, you also need to be able to prevent fraud. You need to be able to control people from double spending a Bitcoin. You need to be able to track events in history with accuracy, truth, and integrity. And this is where time comes in and why it is so important to the idea of creating a more democratic economy that empowers people without needing to ask for permission to do things that can earn them money. Time has been so critical to the path of human history. This is me, being a baby in Vietnam, and I looked at my own journey of time that led me to being a lawyer in the United States that gives me the opportunity today to work in the blockchain space. And I'm hoping my own journey gets me to the point where I look like my father does today in his 80s, and having had a really wonderful life of opportunity. Time has been measured by humanity for a very long period. Ancient civilizations constructed structures that were oriented to a solstice in order to measure seasons of history. Then we had situations where the ancient Egyptians actually created a device to measure sunrise to sunset in 12 equal parts. And then we got mechanical clocks, timepieces on our watch, the digital things you have today. We even built an atomic clock so precise it uses electromagnetic radiation in order to be able to tell time down to the millisecond over thousands of years. Time then actually became going back to the skies because we launched satellite systems to be able to synchronize the world across common time systems. And we have environments today where everything, of course, is digital. We don't use those physical devices anymore. And this is why time is relevant to decentralization. When we record events of time, we place order to events, entries on a ledger, an accounting ledger, when money comes in, when money goes out. It allows us as humans to detect dishonesty if someone has changed the ledger, changed the entry, to confirm truth. And this is a critical aspect of what blockchain technology was designed to do. Bitcoin was introduced to the world as a system for peer-to-peer electronic cash to reduce the need for intermediaries, because our internet system is too inefficient when it was created because it did not have a native way to efficiently send payments. We had to layer on payment processors, credit card companies, etc. And that leads to many, many inefficiencies. And if you're trying to create a more democratic economy, where everyone, anywhere in the world, whether you're in Africa, in Vietnam, and an immigrant to the United States, you need less permission from people and companies in order to create economic opportunity for yourself. So that is what Bitcoin was designed to do, but it's really based in time. Bitcoin's invention was not necessarily anything new. It built upon concepts that existed long before. In the 1990s, two scientists, Stuart Haber and Scott Stornetta in the United States, published a series of important research papers about digital time stamping. They did so because in the 1990s, as you may recall, this is when everything started going digital and online. And they asked the question, if you take documents and convert them to digital form and store them, how do we prevent people from cheating? How do we prevent people from creating fraudulent, fake documents? And so they explored how you could create a system to digitally timestamp documents and information, so that we know what date and time that digital information existed, was uploaded or created, and that we can confirm its integrity. Their papers were seminal because if you actually read the Bitcoin white paper posted in 2008 to the internet, introducing this concept of a peer-to-peer electronic cash to remove the need for intermediaries, make payments more efficient, it actually is very much based on the concept of time, because the footnote references at the very end of the Bitcoin white paper, 3 of them are to those papers by Stuart Haber and Scott Stornetta about digital time stamping. So why does this lead us to the world we have today? The Bitcoin white paper section 3 does not use the term blockchain. We're all at a conference talking about blockchain technology and this new industry that has emerged around us. The Bitcoin white paper uses the phrase time stamp server, creating a system where the records of payments of Bitcoin from me to you, from you to another person anywhere in the world is recorded on a ledger not maintained by one person, one intermediary in charge, but kept by many, the nodes around the system, and they are time stamping each entry. A date and time, I send a Bitcoin to you, date and time, you send a Bitcoin to someone else, and so forth. Because the time and chronology of those transactions is very important to provide a system where you don't need someone in control in the middle, where we can all trust the honesty of all those transactions. And it goes beyond that. In the pre-release notes for the early version of the Bitcoin client software that was used to mine on the network in the beginning, Satoshi did not use the word blockchain either. He used in 4 places in the source code's notes, time chain. It was the idea of creating a chain of transactions linked to time. So time is critical to Bitcoin's whole journey. Remember, no one person in control in the middle, the intermediary, a ledger recording events across time kept by many, which then creates more efficiency. I can send you payments without someone in the middle and therefore reduce costs, increase speed. But for a democratic economy, it means you can create a ledger system for not just payments, but data and other applications where you don't need permission for someone in control. That opens up the door to many ways for creators, people, businesses around the world to create more economic opportunity for themselves. And that is also why Bitcoin is what I call the fusion of data and money. People think about Bitcoin just as the investment asset, a monetary tool, but if you look at the word itself, it's bit, data, and coin, money. It created a ledger, a data system linked to time, where you could send data of any type across the Bitcoin network and actually infuse it with monetary value. And that is our vision of Bitcoin. It's not the Bitcoin where Elon Musk or MicroStrategy are buying up large troves of BTC purposely to stick in a treasury and actually not use it and just hope it continues going up in value, which is great for them and everyone who holds BTC. I want to see a world where the Bitcoin network has lots of data on the blockchain of all kinds of images, music files, records of your healthcare or governments, and all of us around the world are interacting with this blockchain, sending tiny payments, even of micropayments, that allow people to make money from their own content and their digital activity. That is possible if you have a system that is so efficient, because you don't need someone in the middle to send lots and lots of not big payments, not $1 million around the world, which we did not need Bitcoin to solve, but the ability to send 1 penny efficiently, comfortably anywhere in the world. So that is our vision. It's not what BTC has become. For those of you who are supporters of BTC, you know that the 1 megabyte block cap that has maintained on BTC limits the chain to on-chain transactions of 7 transactions a second, nowhere near the Visa and MasterCard payment network it was meant to rival, which does 2 to 50 or 60,000 transactions a second. Our solution with Bitcoin SV, which is one of the competing chains of Bitcoin, is simply unbounded scaling. Lift the block cap, improve the software and technology to actually do what the internet did over the years, increase data capacity. And therefore, on our network, we've been able to test software that allows 50 to 100,000 transactions a second across the network, and we believe that's going to go even more. The practical effect of this is to empower more democratic economic opportunities. Ethereum, once the leading enterprise type client blockchain that people wanted to use for business applications, has experienced massive congestion because it has run into scaling problems. That means the gas fees to send a transaction, whether it be a token, a smart contract, a simple payment on Ethereum, vacillates anywhere from 16 to almost 70 US in May of this year. More recently, it was about 27 US dollars. That is far too high to create any effective business system, especially for people in developing countries, if they want to create reliable, high volume business on a blockchain. So our solution with scaling has resulted in a network that last year had the median transaction fee for the entire year to send a payment at 1/50th of a US cent. 1/50th of a US cent, which means I can efficiently create a game, a social media application, a way to monetize my art, or you might just pay me 1 US penny from anywhere in the world, 2 cents, because the cost of interacting on the network is almost free for payments. Data transactions, of course, cost more, but the point is scaling big creates more opportunity for everyone. And it's exactly what Bitcoin was designed to do. If you read the white paper of Bitcoin, it didn't say we were creating a system for peer-to-peer digital gold to hold $1 million worth of BTC. It talked about the need to provide for small, casual transactions, which is what is critical to creating a more democratic opportunity. So let me now talk about the types of economic opportunities and businesses being created on BSV and why this illustration of micropayments and time is so critical to it. Because when you're doing all of these payments, you need a ledger that's keeping track of this all very carefully by time to make sure it's all fair and honest. Micropayments are very powerful. There is big power in small payments. There's a team in Australia with a project called Coda, which has created an API marketplace for developers so they can actually monetize their work. A lot of developers now, especially in the blockchain space, will create some software code work. They'll upload it to GitHub and make it available for free for people to use on open source licenses, which is great, but it doesn't create a lot of economic opportunity for the developers. Using this marketplace, developers can upload their work. Someone, if they want to use it, will then pay the developer in tiny BSV micropayments. They've also created a stablecoin on BSV to enable that as well. So every time you do a pull to an API, you pay. Every time you do a download of software, you pay a small amount. And that creates much more economic opportunity for any developer anywhere in the world from India to Brazil to Vietnam to actually get paid for their work without needing to go get a job at a big development firm. Haste is a team in the United States which has created a very innovative leaderboard payout concept for video and online games. If you're like me, you used to play arcade games and you would stick a quarter into the machine, I'd play Pac-Man or Space Invaders, and you'd get on the leaderboard sometimes. But you don't make any money from getting on the leaderboard. But what if you could? So their system allows any game to integrate. People pay to play the game. If you get on the leaderboard, for every person who comes after you, who does not beat your score, you get a tiny fraction of the 10 or 20 cents that they paid to play the game. It actually allows a very inventive monetization and economic opportunity for gamers. It's also an opportunity to reinvent the internet as we know it, because the internet as we know it relies on applications where they're free to us as the user, such as Facebook, for example, or Instagram. But really, we pay by having our data monetized through advertising. What if we reinvented that model to allow you as a user on the internet to actually make money from your content? That's what Relica is doing, another team from Australia and the UK, where they've created essentially an Instagram type application where you actually pay a small amount of money in BSV, 3 or 5 cents, to upload a picture. But when people like, comment, react as your followers, they tip and pay you back in small amounts. So it allows someone who becomes an influencer to directly make money from the social media platform rather than relying on an advertising system. Tonic Pow is doing something similar with digital advertising to increase the effectiveness of a digital ad for an advertiser by allowing you to refer the content of that ad to your friends and social network. If you know someone who likes cars or who likes beaches of Barcelona for a tourist ad, and every time someone engages from your social circle with the ad, you get paid in small amounts of BSV micropayments. These are really good examples of how you can create all kinds of opportunities, such as posting images, such as here in Relica, and seeing people tip you 2 cents, 1 cent on the right there. That really adds up for people. It allows opportunities for people to do airdrops of tokens and coins that you can go run around a city and actually earn. This micropayment capability opens up also the door for content creators. Everyone's creating NFTs. Because the BSV scale is so big, it's very cheap to create an NFT. You don't have to pay an $80 gas fee. So you as an artist can pay maybe 10 cents to create an NFT on BSV, such as on Bullish Art, which is a platform for contemporary artists. It allows people to actually pay music artists. Blaircast is a new distribution platform where a music artist uploads a digital music file, and then they get paid. The file lives on the blockchain, and anytime someone streams it, downloads it, what do you get paid? Without a music label in the middle, BSV micropayments. So you can also do this with healthcare data. A final example I'll finish with. There's a platform in the United States which is moving electronic health records to a platform on the BSV blockchain. And it allows you as a patient to have more control over your own data, but more importantly, also monetize it. Take this example. Pharmaceutical company wants to get data of women aged 30 to 50 in Barcelona who have taken a particular medication because they have one condition. They want the data to do research for their own drug. There's no way to get that data easily now. They could, through this platform, request the data. You as a patient can decide to authorize your data if you fit. They pay the platform and it distributes in tiny micropayments to you as the patient, your pharmacy, your doctor, everyone involved in the chain of gathering the data. These are really good examples of how I say the BSV blockchain is creating economic opportunities for everyone, everywhere, and everything. All of these payments have to be tied to time, to a distributed ledger that tracks by time to create integrity, to make sure the payments are in the right order. And it's an example of no matter where you're from, where you are, if you're from Vietnam, like I'm from, if you are from like my parents as well, and have had a life there that has come all the way to the United States 59 years later, whether you're from here in Spain, whether you are from Argentina, or in the many other places in the world that is looking to adopt blockchain technology to do something better, I really encourage you to think about how the need to have a ledger that is based in this time chain, distributed timestamp server that scales big to enable payments at all levels for everyone, not just wealthy corporations and investors. That's time. It's time for that. And with this, I just want to end by telling you about why time has been so important to the human race. It's been something that's connected all of life. Early humans looked to the skies, to the moon, to the sun, building structures that were oriented to a solstice, devices that measured sunrise to sunset in 12 equal parts. And then in the dark, we had to use the flow of water, the flow of sand, the flow of melting wax to remind us that time flows continuously. And then came mechanical clock towers here in Europe, swinging pendulums with harmonic motion, devices small enough for our wrist, clocks that were atomic, even digital. And then we looked back to the skies for time to mark moments that we want to celebrate and remember. And it organizes our lives and our business. It measures speed and performance, provides chronology to events so that we can detect dishonesty and reveal truth, and provides a common system that connects the world. And using time, Bitcoin and blockchain provides a more efficient way of peer-to-peer electronic cash, recorded through a distributed ledger of transactions, organized into blocks, connected across time. Satoshi called it a distributed timestamp server, a time chain, powering a new way to record digital payments and all forms of data actions in chronological order, providing data transparency through a universal source of truth. Now, Bitcoin's journey has been restricted for too long, and now we're allowing it to scale, to do more. And after all this time, we're seeing BSV's power here. And I would tell you it's time to make blockchain useful for everyone. It's time to create more efficient business and government systems. And it is time, finally, to make a more democratic, better, fair world that empowers everyone with the BSV blockchain. It's about time.